So you're on the fence. Perhaps you've stumbled on Donut County on the PSN store, or you read about it online somewhere. Perhaps then, you went and watched the vague but intriguing trailer for the game. And now you're wondering if this game is one of those games that deserves the distinct honor of having lightened your wallet a little bit. But most of all, you're wondering what the heck it is. Well, in an attempt to sound vaguely inappropriate, let's just call Donut County a dynamic hole-filling simulator and move on. The story follows a mischievous trash panda, named BK and his friend Mira. You play through flashbacks and recollections of the events leading up to the currently poor situation everyone finds themselves in. This manifests itself in the gameplay as controlling a small but endlessly growing hole and swallowing up everything you can in each level. I can't help but feel this game has at least fantasized about beginning some sort of romantic relationship with the Katamari series. And though I've never played a Katamari game, it seems to me that both of these games feature odd but charming characters and visuals, and gameplay that revolves around intruding on the world around you and slowly destroying it through bizarre methods. The puzzling thing about Donut County is that it kind of sounds like a puzzle game, but it's really not. Though at times it does pretend to be one, like a small child dressing up in daddy's clothes and pretending to be a boss, Donut County is not particularly brain-engaging, but it is cute and endearing nonetheless. The puzzles, particularly the ones that are required to beat the game, are not usually more complicated than eating things in a certain order or throwing stuff back out at the right time. However, there is a trophy or two that require a bit more effort and thought, along with the fairly unnecessary boss fight. If I may be frank about that boss fight, it's really hard to fail, and there is a trophy for failure, so that's annoying, and it takes too long to complete it, since it's not particularly fun. The charm of the game is its slow pace and its visuals, and none of that is very present in that boss fight. It just feels completely out of place to me. But hey, you can't win them all. At least there's some sort of a climactic ending, and not just, nothing. But as far as the story goes, it does have a certain small-town charm to it, and the characters are quirky. The plot itself is serviceably entertaining, if not particularly engaging. As long as you enjoy the relaxing and chill nature of the gameplay, the plot is enough to keep you going, at least. Well, the characters are enough, I should say. I'm not sure that everybody out there will find the dialogue to actually be as funny as it seems to think it is, but it's good enough. Definitely worthy of some chuckles at the very least. There are 24 levels that you can replay at your leisure from a level selection screen, though a few of them are just dialogue levels. And everything you swallow up into a hole has its own Trashopedia entry that you can go into and read. These are all just little blurbs from BK's perspective as to what the item is, but I personally thought a lot of those were quite funny. I think a lot of people's reservations for this game will be the length. My first playthrough took about an hour and a half, then it took me another 30 minutes to go back in and mop up the trophies that I missed in order to platinum the game. So it's a quick and easy platinum, which might be good for any trophy hunters out there. I only did it because I truly enjoyed the game. At the end of the day, there is something about it, the chill and zen-like gameplay, the light and humorous tone, the simple idea, and the ease to complete it. If you put it all together and it clicks with you, it's a fun little experience to unwind with. And I think that's what you have to be looking for in order to appreciate it. $13, at time of writing, for 2 hours might not be enough to cut it for some people who expect more, but it's really not that bad. Don't go in expecting much in the way of a challenge, or plot, just for a delightful time. If that means waiting for a price you're more comfortable with, then that's probably fair. But, if you go in with the right mindset, I think you'll find yourself quite satisfied with this quirky little gem. For the pros of Donut County, you got the relaxing, zen-like experience. It's visually quite interesting. It's got tons of quirky characters. It's simple, in a good way. It's easy platinum. It's usually quite funny. The soundtrack's awesome. You've got this awesome duck emoji that you can send back and forth during text messages with the characters. Yes, that is a positive for this game because I just got a kick out of it. You got the Trashopedia. I still love that thing to death. There's really only one truly objective fault to this game, and it would be the length. Because, it's short. 2 hours is kind of short. That's fine. You can't really argue against that. Whether or not that's a problem for you, now that's more to each their own. And also, I think the boss fight was unnecessary, kind of out of place. You might not hate it as much as I did. that's entirely up to you. Same with the easiness of the puzzles. The puzzles are really easy. Maybe that's a good thing, maybe that's a bad thing. That's entirely up to you. I mean, really, it's there to be a relaxing experience, I think, is the point of Donut County. So you don't want it to be too challenging, but you might go in expecting some teeth on this thing, and they're not really going to be there. And in what I think will become tradition for any time that I do one of these, I go back, and indeed, again, I went back, and I played Donut County again right before polishing up the ending of this script, and I took some notes on my second playthrough to kind of see what stood out to me that I didn't mention the first time. And there was three positives that stuck out to me. And the first was the visual humor, the physical comedy of, say, like animals flopping about the stage before you swallow them up. It's funny to me because I like visual comedy. And also, even just physics objects, the way they behave, you're moving the hole around, sometimes they get caught on the lip, and then they kind of fly around. I think that's great. It's also very satisfying to take like a stack of objects that are on top of each other and, try to make them fall straight down into your hole without hitting the edges at all, like a swoosh, back on the elementary school basketball court when nothing but net. And then shout out to the more visually interesting puzzles, like the chameleons and the spooky house. I don't want to go into details, because they might be spoilers. So, can you spoil this game? It's just more interesting if you just found it for yourself. But there's some cool looking parts, kind of different parts, and those are the kind of puzzles that I remember mostly in my head because they were more visually interesting. I did notice a very occasional, extremely brief frame drops. Nothing to write home about, but just sometimes for just an instant, you might kind of hang up. And then I think they should do a printed version of the Trashopedia. That's just me. I don't know. There's no sort of guidelines in the game for what the outside of the book would look like visually, but it's pretty funny. Some of the entries are really funny, and I think they could make one somehow, and it would be nice to have that thing sitting on your coffee table. Maybe that's just me. Much like the game itself, this video is a fairly short one. That's mostly because there's not much else to be said about what the game really is, and commenting further on the in-game events themselves would just be light spoilers that remove some of the experience of playing it. I think my final score for Donut County would be eating dessert before dinner. So just keep Donut County in mind when you're in the mood for something different to unwind with for 2 hours, and you can't go wrong. And hopefully, you aren't on the fence anymore.